Okay, so now the rig is complete and we're ready to animate it. Fun. So let's just add a component, miscellaneous animation. This is the original animation system, which Unity now calls Legacy. It's upgrading its new mechanism system, but the principle is going to be the same. Okay, so the trick is that we add animations here, and this is the default animation that's going to be played automatically. So in our case, it's going to be the idle animation, for instance, and you can switch the animation that's going to be played using many options. In our case, we're not going to do this using a custom script. We just use a setup trick with a pre-made component just to play those animations. But the first thing is to just create those animations, right? So let's start it. Let's first grab the animation window. I put it in here. I dock it here. So the first thing that I like to do is to create what I call a base animation clip. Okay, this clip is just going to have the curves that you will animate in your hierarchy. Okay, so like I said, everything here is just going to take rotation keys. Only the body is going to take position and rotation keys. So let's just do that. Make sure that you're on show all mode and then select here to create a new clip. I call it cyber hacker base, for instance. Okay, fine. So let's now click here, add curves to position, add curves to rotation. That's all we need for the control body transform. And now let's move on to the other guys. So controller head is going to be just rotation. Controller left arm, same thing. Left forearm. Left hand root. You can see that it adds for the 3 channels, no matter which one you pick. Okay, so that finishes the left arm setup. Let's do the same for the right arm. This is a bit tedious, but you just have to do it once, as you're gonna see in a bit. Okay, and that's done. So now that we've got all the curves keyed up, we can select here on show all and turn it into show animated, and that clears up our view. It's only going to show what we're actually going to work with. Okay, so when I expand transform now, I don't see scale, I don't see position, just rotation. So it's very important that you do this first. Instead of editing this guy and having to redo this process, we're just going to duplicate this clip and edit the copy. Okay, so let's just select the base clip and duplicate it. Control D or Command D on the Mac, and let's make this an attack kind of clip. Okay, so I just select the guy which has the animation component again. Make sure I add this to the list. Okay, so you could just increase in here and just grab the tag or remove the base if you want, since we're not editing it anyways. So now that I've did that, it's now showing up here in the drop down box, and I just select it. Now it's very easy. Simply, as soon as you click here, you enter into animation edit mode, and everything that I want to be keyed in at 0, it's already done, because that's what we did when we created the base clip. So now I can, for instance, go to 45. You can also type in here directly if you want to go to a certain frame. Okay, and then I can grab the controllers. They're not very visible right now, so let's work this out. First, click here, make sure 3D gizmos is disabled, so they get their default sizes for the gizmos. Okay, and you can also switch some of those if you want. For instance, let's grab the controller body. You'll see that here in Rage handle we have a gizmo file pole. So if I type pole here, it's gonna select it for us, and I can just select here, and you can see there are many others which you can use. For instance, joint and global. Just type these names in the proper field and it's gonna work. So for instance, let's use global and joint. I'll use global here, just type global, and here for the head I use joint, just so it differentiates a bit from the top left arm controller gizmo, right? So now you can clearly see that this is the root, this is the head, and you can add as many gizmos as you want. Okay, but just drop them inside this folder and you can just type their names, and RageHandle will assign it automatically for you. Okay, so with that done, let's get back to our animation clip, just like here, and let's start playing with it. So let's go back to frame 45, and now I usually like to start from the root, from the body in this case, because that's the core of the movement. So I could, for instance, move him backwards like that, rotate him backwards, and then move him backwards a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate this controller here. The fact that Rage Spline is minimized makes it easier. Okay, so I'm just raising it up, and there's an ordering problem here which we can fix at any point in time. Don't get concerned about that, just keep animating. Later we just reorder it. Since we're not animating the position, we're just animating the rotation for these guys, that makes things much simpler. Okay, so let's just raise it up and maybe grab right forearm, rotate it a bit as well, and maybe the hand root, rotate it like that. Okay, I'm not messing with the curves right now, I just make the attack really swift. So I want a similar position here at, let's say, 1, then we can retime it if we want. So to rescale here the view in the animation window, just use Alt Shift right mouse button. You could also use F to make it fit, which definitely is faster. So let me just use Alt Shift right mouse button, Alt middle mouse button to pan it upwards. Okay, and that's the curve that we have set up for just this guy. Okay, so if I have multiple guys selected, you're going to see all of them at once here. As soon as you hit F, it's going to be scale. So that's our first key, right? So if I just slide it here, you can see the result. If you have rotations bigger than 180 degrees, I definitely don't recommend using quaternion type keys. Okay, just be aware of that. I could also use the mouse wheel here to zoom out, and now I want to copy this keyframe to 1 second, right? So since there's no actual copy keyframe, a trick that I like to use is to simply move in time 1 frame and then creating a keyframe for the controllers like that. Okay, so now we have for the right arm, now I have one for the forearm and one for the right hand root, and now I can simply move these guys to whatever I want. So in this case we go back to 1, same here, same here. Of course, you could also set the values directly. Okay, like I'm looking at here, the rotation is 0 and 0 is 0. Okay, so basically it's a simple case of typing in the value 0 on rotation Z, and it's going to be reset to the proper precise starting position. Depends on how precise you want to get back to the start state. I really just get concerned about that when I'm defining the last key for looping animations, right? For animations that are going to ping pong or just be a stepping stone for another animation, which is a kind of a transition animation, I don't get too concerned about that. Okay, so I just animate this arm, and just to add some flavor, let's just grab the controller head, and instead of creating the middle keyframe here, I use another trick, which is to just keep it in a line and adding a new keyframe, and then I add the intermediate keyframe where I rotate the head a bit backwards like so. Okay, now hit F to focus it, and that's the result. So if you want to now tweak the animation, for instance, I would want this guy to just the head to rotate a bit quicker. I could simply move it in time here. Okay. So it makes a bit more sense. So you're probably noticing that I have no ease in, ease out. That's pretty simple to fix. Just drag a box around the keyframe, just select it, right click on it, and then select flat, and it's gonna ease in. You could also ease out like so. Just select flat. You could also select the left and right tangent to some options like free, linear, constant. Usually flat helps for basic ease-ins and ease-outs. Okay, and now you can see that the head is much more, it has a much more fluid movement. Okay, and we could check out for the right arm that the same is happening. Okay, so this is still not eased in. Let's do it for both. Just shift and drag another box, right click, flat, and it should be smoother now. Let's try it out. Yeah, the body is not rotating back, so let's fix that. Just grab the body, as you can see. So let me just go to 1 and make sure that rotation Z it's 0, and the position I probably have to copy to make it precise. Position X and position Y. Okay, let's try it now. Okay, so much better. You can see that the foot stays in place as it moves the body exactly how we wanted. So I just stop this, and since this one is done, I just duplicate it again. This time I got the base one and I duplicate it and I call it idle, and I just add this one instead of the base. Okay, and now let's select the idle clip. So with the body controller selected, I just make a really quick idle animation, just duplicating it here. Let's go to 30, rotate it, sum, create a key, and hit F, and rotation Z. Oh, didn't create a key here for whatever reason. I was in position. So just grab these guys, drag a box, make them flat. Okay. So you can see it just rotates a bit along 1 second. And let's now compensate for the head. Add the final keyframe. And here, the head selected. Rotation Z. Just rotate it forward a little bit to compensate. And select these two keys. Make them flat. Hit F. And let's try it now. It's rotating a bit too much in the body. So let's just grab the body, rotation Z, and lower this value. So 2.5. And let's try it now. To finish this up, let's just select the left forearm and create a simple counter animation here. So I just key it. The shortcut, by the way, is K. Okay, and now I can just rotate it a bit downwards. Select these two, make them flat, and do the same for the right forearm controller. Okay. Go to 30, rotate it, hit F, select everything, flat. Let's try it now. You can see that it's already a bit better. Let's just increase a bit more the compensation here for the left arm. Just select this one and okay, let's try it now. That's much better, right? So of course you could clear it up and just improve the animation overall. That's just to give us a couple animation states that we can play with. Okay, so with that done, now let's just define a quick switch of shapes. I just select the hood constraint, right, where the animation clip is, and let's just, for instance, select the attack. Okay, so you can see all the keys here, and I can just, okay, so suppose I'm opening the hand at this time in the animation. Okay, simply add an event. You might need to click it here. Sometimes it doesn't stick when you simply click once. So just select it and then make sure you select the switch set item function. Okay, just select it and pass as a parameter, for instance in this case, the left hand open, and this is the name that you have defined in the Rage group as we saw previously. That's why I didn't use uppercase or anything that could make me confused about what was the notation. If I want to switch more than one switch set at once, I can just switch them separate by commas, right? So just right hand open, for instance, and that would work just fine. Let's keep it like that, just so we can try it out. So let's just close this and see how it works. It's not going to preview in here. I just get out of it and make, just for tests, I make the default animation the cyber hacker attack. Okay, and make sure that play automatically is enabled. If at first it doesn't work, that's because you've added the Rage group after creating the constraint, so it's not properly connected to Rage group. Just click on refresh here next to the follower field, and it's gonna work the next time you try it. Okay, let's just hit play. You can see that now the hand, both hands are properly opening, but they're not being restored. So let's fix that. Just go to the point where you want the hands to be closed again. Let's say here. Okay, just add an event and select it. Select switch set item and set left hand closed, right hand closed. Okay, close it, out of preview mode, play for tests, and you see that it's now working just fine. So how to make this clip looping? That's standard Unity behavior. Just select the clip and select wrap mode loop. Okay, you could also use ping pong, whatever you prefer. And you can see that it's now working just fine. Okay, the hands are opening and closing. In this case, we don't want the left hand one like that. Okay, just remove it, no problem. It's gonna work just fine. Okay, so just select here. Let's just remove the left hand open, which we don't want. Okay, do the same here and try it. Okay, let's now fix the color. That's pretty simple. You could, for instance, just grab the controller to make it easier for you to test it. Okay, and just rotate it, okay, to a position that makes the problem obvious. Then you just select the shape like so and move it, okay, until it's properly written. Let me just rotate the arm back again, just zeroing out the rotation, and let's fix the ordering now. I just set the head to some minor Z position that is still ahead of the body, which is at 0. So that should work things out. Let's try it again just to make sure. Okay, and that's done, and our animation is completed. So what we have to do now is to add our interface to control those and play those animations whenever the user wants it, and that's what we'll see in the final video.